This woman's husband was having an affair, and when the mistress tracks down the wife to expose him, the wife reveals that she had known all along and told her, "You can have the leftovers." Hey, it's your girl B, and welcome back to Reddit After Dark, where we dive into the wildest stories that Reddit has to offer. Tonight, we have a cheating husband whose mistress decides to confront the wife, and wedding drama that turns into a full-blown family meltdown. And trust me, both of these stories get messier as they go. So buckle up and let's get into it. Our first story is about a woman who discovers that her husband of 15 years has been having an affair. But instead of immediately confronting him, she decides that she would rather keep the life they built together, rather than blowing up everything over what he did. Then the mistress contacts her, and she thinks she's about to expose this huge secret. Except the wife already knows, and she has known for months. Let's just say the conversation does not go the way the mistress had intended. I think it's time to get into it. Let's start with the title. I told the mistress that she got the leftovers, and she's not happy about that. Oof. Been married to my husband for 15 years. I have a great life and I love everything about it. He has a great career and I feel very spoiled. I only have to work with what I love, and it is that I design jewelry and the profit would never give me the life I am living. I have not paid bills in years, and I spend my days in my studio working out or having fun with my friends. Our families are very close, and we have a big social circle that I love very much. He is great. He cooks and cleans with me, and I never feel like I do more than him. He makes me my favorite food every Friday, and he would drive at 3 a.m. at night if I was feeling down and wanted a burger or candy. I want to believe that I do the same with him. Other than that, I cannot drive. Cheating on me was a mystery to me. I was in shock for a long while, but I couldn't tell anyone because I didn't want my life to crumble. Then I got used to it. I let go of the love and just kept the friendship and companionship. I want my house, my travels, and my family and friends. Everything I have, thanks to him. I got her "Hey girly" last month and didn't even open it. It was on Instagram, but I didn't accept her invitation to speak, so she reached out on TikTok instead, and later I found a request on Facebook Messenger too. So there's a lot to unpack here. Now, this wife here, she is financially dependent on her husband. It seems like she gets to pursue her passion for jewelry making, being creative, and he takes care of all the finances. Now, 15 years down the road, they've built a life together, and she's found herself in a situation where her husband is actively cheating on her with a mistress that's been also actively trying to reach out to her. Now, I'm curious to figure out what this mistress is trying to communicate. Is she trying to expose the husband? What is her goal here in being super adamant on reaching out to this wife? I mean, she's reached out to her on Instagram, on TikTok, but let's keep on reading. And I don't know how, but she got my phone number and called me. See, there it is. I answered because I thought it was a buyer and she cornered me. I froze and she calmly told me to see what she left on Instagram and TikTok. I hung up in panic. So I opened her "Hi girly" text. I couldn't help but be confused. She pretended that she didn't know I existed when I had seen all her texts about me. Okay, so that's a huge red flag, because now this mistress is pretending that she didn't know that the husband was married, but it seems like she knew all along. Let's keep reading. I didn't read all of it, but I wrote her that I knew about the affair and she could stop lying because I knew for a fact that she knew he was married and to whom. She became very hostile very fast and told me if I was better, maybe he blah blah blah, you know the threat. I told her that she could have my leftovers, the parts of him that I don't want and, according to her, neglected. I told her she could have his body and even his heart. I have the other more important things. I have half of everything else at least, so the leftovers are truly hers. Congrats. She went berserk with insults and I blocked her. It sounds like the wife is trying to find the right way, in her way, to cope with all this. She's clearly heartbroken. It's a lot to understand and a lot to deal with all at once, especially when you've been totally dedicated to someone for 15 years, building up a life with them. They share friends, family. His world is her world, and her world is literally his world. Now, the sad part is that the husband has gone wandering off and he's with a mistress, and she knows about this, and it's been really eating her up inside, but she's trying to survive, trying to deal with the situation that he is basically putting her through. Now, on top of the whole affair and the pain with that, now she's dealing with a mistress that's actually trying to be spiteful. So I really, really, really feel for the wife in this situation. But let's keep reading. I have been crying since. What do people like her want when they contact the partner of their affair? I'm not looking for leave him advice. I love my life and his love, and sex don't matter to me anymore anyway. Okay, so there are several problems here that we really need to talk about. Knowingly sleeping with a married man is the first one. But what really takes it to a whole other level is that the mistress didn't stop at the affair. She went looking for the wife. She tracked her down on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, and eventually got her phone number and kept trying to force the wife to confront what was happening. At this point, it wasn't just an affair, it was an affair topped with spite. And yes, the husband was absolutely in the wrong too. He made vows to her and he was supposed to be loyal to her. Look, personally, I could not stay in a relationship if I knew that I was actively being cheated on. I just couldn't. But I still have a lot of compassion for the wife in this situation, given the circumstances. She loves her life. She's been married to this husband for 15 years and they've built a beautiful life together. And she is very much dependent on him. I mean, she doesn't even drive. So walking away from her husband would mean walking away from a life that she once thought she was secure in. So I really don't hear her saying that she's fine with what her husband did. I hear her trying to survive what her husband did. And this just seems like it's her own way of taking some of that power back. Look, she may not be able to control that he cheated, but she can decide the kind of love and emotional access that she gives to him. And granted, there's other people in the exact same situation that would make a very different decision and pack their bags the same night. And that would be completely understandable too. But people cope with life-changing betrayal differently. So, my final verdict, the husband betrayed the wife. The mistress knowingly participated in the affair and went out of her way to hurt the wife on top of it. But the person I have the most compassion for is the wife. She fulfilled her end of the marriage, and now she's trying to navigate how to survive something that she did not ask for. Look, I wouldn't make the same decision, but I don't think that we should be judging her for trying to regain some type of control over her life. And who knows, if staying for now is how she survives this, then she can figure out what she's gonna do next. But what do you think? Could you stay in a relationship with someone that you built a life with, even though you knew they were cheating on you? Or would you have a zero tolerance policy and leave? Today's episode is brought to you by Vinted. Okay, please tell me I'm not the only person who's opened up their closet and sees a lot of clothes that they promise to intend to wear again. But months later, they're still sitting there. Look, I've been trying to get better about clearing out things that I'm not wearing anymore. Because if they're only taking up space, I might as well give them a second life and make a little extra money in the process. That's where Vinted comes in. Vinted is a secondhand app for everyday sellers like you and me to sell pre-loved fashion. Listing on Vinted is quick and simple, and there are no seller fees, so you actually keep what you earn. And once something sells, Vinted creates a prepaid shipping label for you, which takes another step off your plate. So if your closet could use a little breathing room too, go see what's hiding in there. Download the Vinted app for free and start listing. With no seller fees, you keep every dollar you earn. And for a limited time, enjoy free shipping in the US on Vinted. Now, let's get back to the show. Our next story starts off sounding like typical wedding drama. A 24-year-old woman and her fiance are planning a relatively small wedding that they're paying for themselves. And the problem, well, is that the groom's mother thinks that the wedding is not prestigious enough. She wants something bigger, more expensive, and something filled with prestigious, important guests. And basically tells her son that if he can't afford the wedding that she wants, he should basically wait until he's 30 to get married. And if they refuse, she won't attend. But if you think it's that bad, just wait. The story spirals from there. Let's get into the story. My female 24-year-old self and fiance, male 27, mom refuses to attend our wedding unless it meets her standards. Is this a battle worth fighting? Ooh, this is going to be a juicy one. I, female 24, am planning a wedding with my fiance, male 27. We've been in a long distance relationship for 2 years and are planning to get married next year. My parents are supportive, but his mom isn't. It's not because she dislikes me, but because she's afraid the wedding won't be grand enough and that she'll be embarrassed. She wants a big wedding and insists on inviting important people from our office, which isn't what my fiance and I want, especially since we're still in junior positions. She told us to postpone the wedding until we're 30 and can afford something more extravagant. If we still can't do it by then, she wants us to get married abroad to avoid embarrassment on her part. My fiance has explained our plans and expressed how much he wishes she could be more understanding. But this has been a recurring pattern in his family. His mother often acts as if the world revolves around her. She doesn't take no for an answer. Now, she's saying she won't come, and neither will her side of the family if we move forward with our current plan. My fiance, my family, and I are all okay with moving forward, but deep down we both want her there. We've done everything we could do to involve her, but she insists it has to be done her way. I find that hard to accept, especially since we're the ones paying for the wedding. We even suggested therapy, but she refused. Now she says this whole situation is stressing her out and that she's losing sleep over it. For context, I live in Southeast Asia where weddings are usually family-centered. But in our religion, the groom's parents are not required to be present. I don't want my fiance to feel like he has to choose between me and his family. I've tried hard to earn his parents' approval, and they have no issue with me as a person. It's just the wedding doesn't meet his mom's expectations. My fiance is a wonderful man and wants to marry me, with or without his mom's blessing. But I keep wondering, is this a battle I should keep fighting, or is it something I need to let go of? Now we've heard stories before on this channel when it comes to wedding drama, and it's usually, the parents of the bride or the groom. I'm curious to figure out what happens next and if the young couple decides to move forward with their marriage, with or without the mother-in-law's approval. Let's keep going. After a few days, she reached out to me personally. She said she didn't approve of the wedding because she felt my fiance wasn't financially stable enough yet. For context, we're both financially independent and covering all our wedding costs ourselves. I replied politely saying I'm sorry she felt that way, but assured her I'm not a financial burden to her son since I want to have my career and all. I also said we're both pursuing our goals and there's no reason to wait to get married. Apparently, that set her off really badly. She called my fiance for 3 hours, hysterically yelling about how disrespectful it was for me to reply with a long message. When he got home, she continued yelling and even called me names. She made his brother sit there and wash everything. No one defended him. This went on for several days. Every time he came home, she'd start yelling again for hours. It reached a point where my fiance packed up all his things to move out, but before he could leave, his mom found out, trashed all his belongings, literally ripped out his luggage in two, and called him horrible names. It didn't stop there. She physically attacked him and made the entire family watch. Now, I am no psychological expert, but that's got like psychopathic narcissist written all over it. And it sounds like this type of family dynamic has been allowed to continue for far too long. I honestly just hope that he got the police involved. Let's keep going. I still can't process how fast everything escalated. It happened so suddenly and so brutally that I took a 24-hour flight the next day and went straight home completely shaken. I know he needed me that time, and not being able to do anything if I'm far would have killed me. Now, he hasn't gone home since, and we've decided to elope next year. I still can't believe this all started because she wanted a prestigious wedding. It's heartbreaking to see how far it went, but at least we're standing together. Please wish us luck and peace as we move forward. Now, I am really interested to see what happens with this couple moving forward. Are they going to stick to their guns and really stand strong together and elope next year, or are they going to crumble and let the mother-in-law make all the decisions? Okay, so I cannot be the only person who's put off making a doctor's appointment simply because I did not feel like making the phone call. You tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, and all of a sudden, that appointment is sitting on your to-do list way longer than it should. This episode is sponsored by ZocDoc, and that's exactly the kind of thing that ZocDoc makes easier. ZocDoc lets you search and compare local in-network doctors. You can look through reviews from real patients and detailed doctors' profiles to see who feels right for you. And instead of calling around trying to figure out who actually has availability, you can see real appointment availabilities and instantly book a visit. Look, I love anything that can take one more annoying task off my list, especially when it comes to something as important as taking care of yourself. Your health matters, and taking care of yourself shouldn't be complicated. Find and book the right doctor with ZocDoc. Head to ZocDoc.com/Reddit to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list. That's ZocDoc.com/Reddit. Now, let's get back to the show. Final update. In short, we're married now. A few weeks ago, we officially became husband and wife. In the end, we decided to keep things small and intimate. We had a simple celebration with my extended family, good food, and lots of laughter. Good. Of course, not having a side of the family there was painful, especially for him. I know there's still sadness underneath it all, and I don't think anyone imagines their wedding turning out this way. But despite everything, we still had such a beautiful day together. I'm incredibly proud of him. I know it wasn't an easy decision for either of us to get married under these circumstances, especially in a Southeast Asian country where family expectations and approvals can be very strong. But I saw firsthand how difficult this entire situation was for him, and despite everything, he never stopped choosing kindness. His family stopped contacting him for a while after calling him and my family horrible names, insulting my family for being poor, and even demanding that my family repay all the money they had spent raising him. We honestly don't know what the future looks like with his family, and maybe that's okay for now. Right now, we're focused on building a healthy and peaceful life together instead of chasing approval that may never come. Thank you to everyone who showed us kindness and support on my previous posts. Your words genuinely helped us get through some very dark moments. For now, we're happy, and that's enough for us. Wow, bravo to that couple. Oh my goodness. Look, when I first started reading the story, I thought that we were dealing with a controlling mother-in-law who cared way too much about appearances. But by the end, it was obvious that this wasn't just about the wedding. This was about having absolute control over every aspect of her son. The planning of the wedding was just the moment where her control stopped working, and that's when her abuse ignited. Because the mom went from "your wedding isn't fancy enough" to screaming profanities to her son for hours and making the entire family watch. She literally held her own son hostage over wedding plans, then destroyed his belongings when he tried to leave and physically attacked him. And then his family demands that the bride's family repay them for raising their own son. Children are not investment properties. You don't get to raise your kid and then hand them a bill after just because they don't do what you want them to do, especially when it comes to planning their own wedding. That's just called being a parent. As a parent, you need to be there for your kid during the low times as well as the high times. So if they can't afford this big extravagant wedding, you should be there supporting them no matter what, even if it's just moral support. And that's just on the whole wedding side. Now, when it comes to his family side, the fact that they just stood by and watched it all happen shows me that they're used to this kind of behavior. My final verdict is that I completely understand why they decided to get married without his family. Because if they had given in, I don't think it would have ended with the wedding. The next thing is the house, it's the finances, it's the kids, it's the jobs, it's every aspect of the couple's life. Every major decision in their marriage could have become a battle over who gets control. But sometimes keeping the peace and having peace are two very different things. But I want to hear your thoughts. If one of your parents decided not to attend your wedding because it wasn't prestigious enough, would you work hard to repair that relationship with them? Or would something like this permanently change how you see them? I need your thoughts on these two stories. Which one had you more frustrated? The poor wife who had to deal with the cheating husband and his vindictive mistress? Or the mother-in-law who tried to turn her son's wedding into her big event? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you had fun tonight, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never have to miss another episode. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time on Reddit After Dark.